Alright, today's lesson is 2.1 Pythagorean Theorem. So the learning goals today are to be able to label a right triangle, to use Pythagorean Theorem to find the length of the hypotenuse, and to use Pythagorean Theorem to find the length of either side, other side, so the length of any missing side. Pythagorean Theorem works for any right triangle, and it states that c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. But it's also good to note that we can write it using opposite operations to solve for a squared or for the other side b squared. So in the picture you'll notice that the hypotenuse is labeled c. So which side is the hypotenuse? C. And c is always opposite the right angle. So the right angle will point to the hypotenuse. Okay, let's look at an example on how this works. So when you have a right triangle and you're trying to find the length of the hypotenuse, we add the area of the squares of the other two sides. So if you want to imagine there's a big square here, and its area is 6 times 6, which is 36. And there's another big square here, and its area is 8 times 8, so that's 64. And what we are going to use is this giant square here to find the length of C. So if we substitute for A and B, we have 8 and 6, they're both squared. Just like I did, 8 times 8 is 64, and 6 times 6 is 36. We can simplify, add them together. And now we have that c squared, or the area of this large square, is 100. In order to find just c, we want to know what the side lengths of the square. On your calculator, you need to type the square root of 100, and you will get the value of c equals 10. In this example, we are calculating the length of one of the other sides. It's not the hypotenuse. We call the other two sides the legs. So the legs are labeled A and B. In this case, the missing side is side B, so we start with b squared equals c squared minus a squared. We substitute for c, the longer side, 12 squared. So imagine we have that big square right here. Okay, and then we're going to subtract the square here, and we should be able to find the square of side B. So 144, that's 12 squared, minus 49, that's 7 squared. You can simplify that, and it equals 95. And on your calculator, like I said, you have to do the opposite. So the square root of 95, because 95 would be the area of the large square here. We don't want that. We want just b. So the square root of 95 is approximately, put a little dot, 9.7.